When I started looking into entrepreneurship and understanding how that could potentially look like for me, I thought the idea of success around having a business was to grow a business that could be so profitable and so huge that you would end up floating it on the stock market, having a board of directors, and eventually selling it for millions. A bit like Uber or one of those businesses that have gone on to create huge success for the founders. And what I've realized over time is that my values are aligned with something that looks actually quite different to that. But I didn't realize what the difference was. In this video, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how I came about understanding the difference between a lifestyle business and a performance business, and why I personally think that a lifestyle business is what 99% of people would actually enjoy the most, and why this is what I teach in my work. And if we haven't met before, my name is Marcela, and I am a business coach for solopreneurs and founders who want to build a simple, profitable business that allows them to live life on their terms. On this channel, I teach strategies, tools, insights, and my own reflections and journey of being an entrepreneur to help you have your own service business that provides you the life that you love. Let's get into the topic today. Okay, so the first point that I wanted to mention is that we need to be really clear of our own definition of success. So when we start listening to other people's definition of success, if we don't have clarity on our own, it can become so easy to get sucked into the idea of someone else's version of success. And especially in this day and age when we can consume so much content from all angles, it can become very confusing and it's difficult to know what it is that we actually want. And it's very easy to get sold into this idea of building a business that you can then exit for millions, and then you can retire when you're 30 and go off to Bali to live on a beach. But honestly, there is so much more nuance around that. And my first real experience of that was in 2018 when I co-founded a tech startup. Myself and my co-founder, had an idea to build an app where you could find health and wellness services in your area by using location-enabled services, and to be able to find alternative health and wellness practitioners that were credible and had good reviews, essentially. The idea was to create this business and to gain a lot of customers. It was B2C, so business to customer, and B2B, so selling it to other business providers who wanted to be on the platform. And we needed to have thousands upon thousands of people to be able to get this app up and running. And the idea, I remember doing my projections, my financial projections, and thinking, okay, year one is going to be £100,000, year two is going to be like £300,000, year three is going to be £1 million plus in terms of revenue coming in, because I could just see what the revenue could look like if the numbers were hit. And my idea was, okay, we'll work really hard on this business for 5 years and then we'll sell it essentially for maybe 10 million, 15 million, 20 million pounds, and then be rich. And it's really interesting because as we started building that business, for me it became clear very quickly that I actually didn't want a business like that. I realized when I started having to talk to investors, when I started to think about funding, when I had to think about, okay, if we give 20% equity in our company, then these people are going to have a say in our business. We're going to have to sit with them in a board of directors meeting and have these conversations and have to argue our point and have to have these agreements and all this sort of stuff. I started envisioning what this would look like, and honestly, it just filled me with dread. I realized at that point, that's actually not why I want to build a business. I don't want to build all of those complications. That's not what I want. I always knew deep down that what I wanted was a business that allowed me to live my life with agency, with autonomy, to have freedom. Freedom is one of my highest values, and to be able to have lots of fun, to be able to relax, to be able to move around if I wanted to. And I started to realize very quickly that the business that I was building was not going to provide me with that. So of course, as someone that's still very ambitious and hardworking, I persevered with that business for a long time. I invested over £80,000 into that business. And overall, with the money that I wasn't earning because I quit my job, I probably ended up about £150,000 kind of worse off after that business. And I realized that I didn't want to build that business in the first place. So in the end, even though I'd spent so much time and energy and effort and money into the business, I knew that business wasn't going to make me happy. And ultimately, my whole idea around building a business was that I wanted to create happiness for myself. I already had success in my careers. I was in the military as a military doctor, and then I left that and I joined the NHS. And so thinking about what is my idea of success. Is it about what other people perceive? Is it about being perceived as successful or having a successful business? Is it about having status, being a doctor, being in the military? No, I realized that for me, it was about having something simple, something where I could have control over what I was doing, something whereby I would have a small manageable team or just work by myself, somewhere where I could choose the people I worked with, somewhere where I could build beautiful relationships with my clients, something where I could take it anywhere. I always knew that I wanted to travel. And in fact, later this year, I'm going to start a whole new chapter as a digital nomad. And that's something that I've been able to build because of the business that I have intentionally built doing coaching. And so it's really about understanding our values, understanding who we are, and what it is that we actually want out of our businesses before we start building something because we think that that is the definition of success. In my mind, that is us replacing one trap for another trap. And my whole philosophy is around helping people to actually really understand underneath all of the layers, to really understand who they are, what they actually want out of life, and therefore what they want out of a business that supports that, and then to build from that perspective. But that is something that I had to learn the hard way back in 2018 with a business that cost me a huge amount of time, effort, and money that I realized I didn't want to build in the first place. So I don't regret it. The experience taught me so much. It really helped me to understand everything that I didn't want in business. And that can be so much more valuable than maybe reading it in a book or even doing an MBA. It was real life experience. Of course, I learned a lot about business. I learned about how to build a website, how to create a marketing funnel, how to reach out to customers, how to onboard people, how to speak to marketing directors, how to work with a tech team, how to build an app. There were so many valuable lessons there. I learned a huge amount, but after 2 years, I realized this business is not what I want. And so I had the courage, because honestly, I will call it courage, because once you spend over £150,000 of your own money into a business, it's not so easy to walk away. And that business wasn't anywhere near ready to be sold. Essentially, we didn't see a return on investment on that money, but it's okay, because what I learned allowed me to be able to pivot and to build a business that was fully aligned with me. Fully aligned with the life that I want to live, fully aligned with my values, fully aligned with everything that I think a business is supposed to give me. And I am so happy. I am so happy with the business that I have now. I work with people who are wonderful, people who I feel really aligned with. We are values aligned. We have a very similar vision and way of looking at things. And as I said earlier, my business is completely online, which means that I am location independent. And I'm able to travel. And in fact, I am going to start traveling, and I'm so excited to be able to do that finally. There are a couple of other points to mention here. Bigger businesses, even though they on the surface appear to create a lot more revenue, they also have a lot of fixed cost and fixed overheads and a lot more moving pieces and complexity. And so it's about deciding what's more important to you. Do you want to build a business where you have to be involved in lots of moving parts with lots of complexity, with lots of overheads, and with that stress of knowing that if you don't make your revenue every month, your business is going to suffer because you still have fixed costs? Or do you want something that's going to give you life, freedom, flexibility? I personally think that most people, if they look deep down, they would probably want to choose the second type of business. It's just that the first one is more prestigious, is more impressive. You know, if you say to someone, I am the founder of Uber, people are going to be incredibly impressed by that. And we live in a society where status counts for a lot. I know this firsthand because I was a captain in the army and I was a doctor. Well, I am still a doctor by title, but removing those titles is so hard for the ego. And we do live in societies where we don't know who we are outside of those identities, work-related identities. But once we're able to remove ourselves from that and we're able to separate that and understand that we have intrinsic value outside of those external metrics, then we stop caring about what people think and we build something that's truly aligned with us. And that is my whole philosophy around business building and lifestyle design. Honestly, in my opinion, the biggest success that we can have is to be able to wake up in the morning and think, the world is my oyster. I can do exactly what I want in exactly the way that I want to do it in whatever location in the world, if I choose to be somewhere else. And I have complete freedom and autonomy. and to be able to have breakfast with our partner, to be able to take our kids to school if we have kids, to be able to take off on a trip if we want to be able to say no to clients that don't feel aligned, but say yes to clients that feel incredibly aligned, to be able to do work that feels impactful, that feels meaningful, to be able to enjoy what we do. I think all of those things are priceless, and society doesn't seem to value them so much. And I think it's really important to bring this message across more and more, because often what I see, even in entrepreneurs who have gone through that huge transition of leaving employment to become an entrepreneur, which is really hard. It's not easy, to then end up trapped in something that they hate again, or something that doesn't give them fulfillment, or doesn't give them any kind of quality of life, or where they're constantly trading time for money. I don't see that as a win, even if it looks impressive on the outside. I think ultimately we need to strive for what's going to give us peace and what's going to allow us to really care about the things that are important in life. Family, health, exploration, travel, adventure, connecting with our inner child. And I think entrepreneurship is such a beautiful vehicle for that freedom. And that is why this is my mission, this is my work, to use entrepreneurship and to teach how to become an entrepreneur, but to build a life of freedom, as opposed to just building a business for the sake of building a business. And I hope that this message gets across to more people, so that more people realize, actually, let's build the thing that's going to make us the happiest. And when we're 90 or 100 years old, we look back and we think, I'm so happy with the life that I built. I cared about the little things that were actually the big things, like spending time with my grandma, being able to do sports, being able to explore things, being able to have quality times with friends and family, being able to have a coffee in peace, that kind of thing. Whatever that looks like to you is very personal, but it's about being able to have that agency and that freedom. Ultimately, I think that's what entrepreneurship can give us, but we still have to be really intentional. Otherwise, we'll end up going down a path that potentially resembles what we were trying to escape in the first place. So with all of that in mind, the thing that I really like people to take away from this is, if you are an entrepreneur, either an aspiring entrepreneur or someone that already has a business, build your business around your lifestyle. So make your decisions around your lifestyle first, then build a business that supports that lifestyle, as opposed to building a business where you then end up having a lifestyle that's not what you wanted in the first place. You can ask yourself these questions. Instead of asking yourself, how do I build the biggest, most impressive business possible? You ask yourself, what do I want my ideal week to look and feel like? How do I want to spend my spare time? Which days of the week do I want to work? How often do I want to work? What sort of clients would I love to serve, and how? What type of work energizes me? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? And then ask yourself, what kind of business supports that? Because genuinely, in this day and age, there's never been a better time to build a business that works around what we want. And so we have to give ourselves permission, but we also need to have that clarity in order to be able to know what it is that we want, and then to build from that. I think a really important factor here is to understand that a lifestyle business doesn't mean a lack of ambition, and it doesn't mean a lack of drive or a lack of results. A lifestyle business can still be very profitable. It can be leveraged with, in this day and age, with AI, with software, with automations. There is so much we can do, and we can create huge impact without having to have the complexities of these performance businesses that can often end up being really stressful. And I think it's, again, like I was saying before, is really understanding what is our version of success and why, so that we make the right decisions around building a business. But for me, I think the majority of people would absolutely love to have a lifestyle business where they are working maybe by themselves or with a very small team, creating work that they love and working with people they love to work with from anywhere in the world. Honestly, I think that is the ultimate idea of freedom. And anyone that subscribes to that idea, I would love to help them make that dream a reality, because it is something that is real in this day and age. Back to 50, 100, 200, 500 years ago, that wasn't possible. But we are blessed in a time where we are able to build this by ourselves with the technology that is available to us. And so why not make the most of this opportunity that's been presented to us? So the question that I want you to ask yourself if you're a solopreneur is, are you building a business around fun, freedom, fulfillment, flexibility, travel, adventure, and life on your own terms? Or are you building yourself another stressful job? And I'm not saying that a lifestyle business doesn't come with stress. Entrepreneurship is hard, but it's about how that business fits into your lifestyle and not the other way around. And that can definitely be designed. It can be built by design so that intentionally you build something that supports the things that are important to you in life. So ask yourself whether you are just starting out or you are well into this journey. This still applies to you, and there's always time to pivot, to modify, to switch things around if you feel that your business is not supporting you any longer. But it's so important to ask ourselves this question. Otherwise, we end up trapped again. And what is the point of working so hard and building a business where we feel trapped and unhappy, right? The way that I would summarize all of this is that I don't want a business that looks good. I want a business that feels good. And that is the philosophy that I subscribe to and that I would love more people to adopt, because when I see people doing this with their own business, I can see that it transforms their life. I can see that it transforms their health, and I can see it transforms their relationships. And ultimately, I believe that we've come to this earth to have fun, to enjoy, to explore, to build meaningful connections, to leave a beautiful legacy behind, and to have positive impact in the world. And so why not use entrepreneurship as the vehicle towards that? I just think not enough people know that this is a path that's available, but it is. And it is becoming more and more available to us with the technology and tools around us. So it's about giving ourselves permission to know what it is that we want, have that clarity, and then start building intentionally towards that. I hope that you have found this helpful and insightful. I just wanted to share some of the way that I think about business and the way that I think about the work that I do and the way that I've built my own life. I've escaped two of the most rigid careers ever, medicine and the military, and I have built a business all around fun, freedom, flexibility, and I am going to go off and travel the world now with my business, which I am so excited about. And genuinely, if I can do it, you can do it as well. But it's about really understanding these concepts and to start implementing and designing things intentionally so that we build a life that we actually want. And if you're a service-based solopreneur or founder and you would like more help with your business, then do check out the description below where I share more resources, workshops and other materials where I go deeper into this so that you can build a business around the lifestyle that you want. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Bye.